Greetings everyone, welcome to ChessAdvancedd. This is from the round 2 of FIDE World Cup. There's so many games to cover and so little time. Here with the white pieces, we have MVL, Maxime Vachier-Lagrave facing off against Surya Shekhar Ganguly, a really experienced grandmaster, and this is going to be really epic, and it's their first encounter. So let's see with the white pieces and with the black pieces how Surya is able to handle Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. Here e4 was played by Maxime, and we have e6, queen to e2, and c5. This is the French defense, this is the Shigarin variation, and we have g3, knight to c6, and now just going for bishop to g2. Bishop to e7, knight to c3, and just h5. So definitely an opening chosen with precision and care, where both of these players are just trying to win in the first round itself. Hey, h3, and now just comes h4, pushing the pawn all the way, taking up a lot of space, and here we have g4. And you could go for a line with b6 in this position, trying to fiend get to the bishop, and here after f4 you just play knight to d4, just get the knight in, attack the queen, and the queen is going to have to go back, and after d5 you'll have a massive center. The bishop is coming in next, and I think the position would be really nice with this pawn really annoying you first of all, and then with the massive center I think you would do a lot with the knight there, controlling a lot of squares, and the bishop coming in. It's a very nice position. If you try e5 in this position, taking up more space towards the center, then you just go for bishop to b7, and after knight g to e2, knight to c6 back, because you don't want to trade. Your center is massive. Why would you trade pieces? Here after d4, now just play rook to c8, bishop to e3, and the game goes on with both players having roughly equal chances. So definitely black, I would really like black's position here, although the engine doesn't like it, but still my bet would be on black. But here after g4, bishop to d6, and now just comes this d3. Just not going crazy all the way, but here just knight to d4, attacking the queen, as I told you, queen to d1, and just knight to e7. So maybe preparing castles, maybe not, maybe just going for king to f8 in this position. Let's see what here Surya has in mind. And here we have f4, and now just comes g5. As you can see with the g5 move, the engine evaluation has shifted completely, but the thing is that the best move in this position was well, not that difficult to find. I mean, or you can see that the bishop is just misplaced in this position. You would want to just go for that central thrust, and hey, bishop to c7 just comes naturally. A knight to f3 will be played, asking for some trades, but you just go for knight to g6. You don't worry about trades. Knight captures, c captures, and after knight to e2, trying to go after this pawn, you don't worry about the pawn because you have a central thrust with d5. And after e captures, you just go for castles in this position, and if you go for d captures, then just comes even f5. It's absolute chaos over the board, but yes, this would have been really nice because you can capture that pawn anywhere, and the king is still stuck in the center. That would be bad for white. If you go for c3, it just comes bishop caps on e6 first, knight caps on d4, and now just the game goes on. You have a lot of moves in this position. You can just go for bishop to d5 first, just get the bishop out of the way. Next, the rook is coming in. I mean, I like black's chances here a lot. But here after f4, just g5 was played, and g5, although is a move that is played a lot in the Shigarin, but in this position specifically it does not work, because now there is a move that gives you a winning advantage right from the opening. And if you want to play like Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, you're going to find the moves. You're going to have to find the moves that he plays. So pause the video and try to find out the move that Maxime played in this position, which gave him a winning advantage right from move 11. So have at it. So congratulations to everyone who's able to find this move. The move is e5, and now the bishop is under attack. Where do you move it? Bishop all the way back to b8 was played, but now just comes this first f caps on g5, which is not a good move. The move that you were supposed to play in this position was actually this knight to e4, and you can see the knight jumping in the position, and that knight is going to be a really strong piece, and your position will be locked down because that pawn will not allow you to push any pass pawn, allow you to push the pawns, and it's going to be a really nuisance of a pawn in the position. And with the knight coming in, I mean, your position is bound to break. But here after f caps on g5, you just give advantage right back to black, because he just bishop caps on e5, and you've just given up a central pawn for no apparent reason. He just knight to e4, and now just comes even d5, and now I have central thrust, central control with the bishop there on e5. I'm liking my chances again. A knight to f6 check was played, but now just comes this bishop caps on f6, and bishop caps on f6. Maybe you could go king to f8. just maybe, because the thing is that here after knight to e2, you just go for this knight captures, queen captures, and just bishop to g3 check. So after this check, the king would need to move, king moves, and now just e5, and you can see that those central pawns would be nice. Yes, that knight is very strong, but you have some compensation with the central pieces, the bishop being hidden inside your position, and maybe you can survive this on a really good day. Knight to b5, you just play queen to c7, pieces would be active, you would have some compensation. But after knight to f6, hey, bishop caps on f6 was played, because it's a natural response, because here the knight jumped in and gave you a check, your king needs to move, you lose the castling privileges. It's just a natural response that you would just trade that. But here g caps on f6, and now here knight to g6 was played, c3 in this position, and now just comes this knight to c6, but here just knight to f3, and knight to f3 is a nice move in this position, but you should have also gone for bishop to g5. The position would be really nice, because after queen to b6 you have b3, and after bishop to d7 just go for this knight to e2, and d4 definitely, because you need to create some chances here. And after castles you play knight c to e5. That knight is a very strong piece, and those knights defending each other and trying to take over the center, they are controlling a lot of squares. But then you have this c caps on d4, and after c caps is rook to c1, so you are controlling a lot of squares. Bishop is on a very nice file, rook is occupying this, the king cannot castle, you have to remain in the center, with that pawn being a nuisance of a pawn here. It's not going to be easy on how to actually play this. The knight is jumping in next, and your position is absolutely amazing, but black has not much counterplay, and that's what I think Maxime should have betted on. But here just knight to f3 is developing pieces, queen caps on f6, finally giving up the pawn, which I absolutely did not like. I mean, that pawn would have been really nice being stuck in the position, and it would have been difficult to get rid of, seriously. But here after castles you have queen to e7, you just given up a pawn for no reason, c4, and now just comes d captures and bishop to d7 in this position. But you can see that bishop to d7 is a move that Engine does not like here. Maybe f6 is something that Engine would have preferred, or maybe even queen to c7, but I don't know why Engine doesn't like. It's a normal move, you want to develop and you want to castle in this position. So here just knight to g5, and now just comes this f6 attacking that knight, and here we have knight to e4, now trying to just give a check and get inside the position, and finally just a queenside castle. And here we have this rook caps on f6 grabbing a pawn, and here in this position, if you want to survive, you need to find a few moves in this position. I mean, get a chance to survive. The position is almost completely lost. You have plus 2.2 advantage with the white pieces. It's going to be very difficult, and Maxime is a top class player. Here knight c to e5, maybe you can have a chance to be able to survive. After queen to e2, you just go for bishop to c6 and just bishop to g5 in this position. You're threatening some sorts of discoveries here. The queen needs to move, the queen moves, and here then you have this rook captures on e6, just grabbing that pawn, and rook to d4 now, and now just going for rook to f1. So the rooks are occupying almost all of the files, and you have to be really careful here to not blunder checkmate, or worse, just lose your queen. Bishop to d7, and after this rook e to f6. My position is absolutely amazing, and I love my position with the white pieces. It's almost an attacking player's dream to be able to have this position with you're completely occupying the file. I mean, attacking winning positions are just, everyone wants them, but this kind of position where it's a fight to be able to find the right idea, although this is a nuisance in the position, those two knights defending each other, and the rook is still in your face. The rook is out of the game, and that's what I'm betting on, because the rooks are very strong, and you can get inside the position anytime. Maybe even trade that one of those knights, and then you can just get your rook inside the position, and it will be a really nice position from the attacking perspective. But here after rook caps on f6, bishop to e8 was played, and now just comes queen to f1, and here knight to d4, finally getting the knight to center of the board, but just bishop to g5 in this position, again threatening discovery. So queen to c7 has to be played, but now just comes this rook to f2, just moving the rook back, bishop to c6, and here just going for bishop caps on d8, rook captures, rook to e1 now. So the thing is that black is now down in exchange, but can black come back into the game, maybe have some counterplay? It's very difficult to try to have counterplay in this position. And in this position here, just e5 was played, but now just comes rook to f7, attacking the queen. Where does the queen move? Here rook to d7 was played, but now just comes rook captures, queen captures, and queen to f6. Now that knight is under attack, that pawn is under attack, this pawn is under attack, and you can see where I'm going with this. All of these pawns and all of these pieces are not actually harmonized in a way that they can defend each other, and somewhere along the line what's going to happen is that one of them is going to fall, and your entire position is going to crumble along with it. Here knight to f4 was played, but now just comes queen to h8 check, queen to d8, and knight to d6 check first. And now in this position, just king moves, attacking the knight, queen captures, king captures, and here bishop caps on c6 was played, b captures, and here Maxime chooses the easy path to win the game. He just doesn't even capture this. I mean, obviously you cannot capture this, because you can see that this is going to be really devastating if you try to just go for this. So here just rook to e3 was played, no checks allowed, and although you can give a check with this, but I don't think you would want to. Here just king to e7, and now just comes this knight to e4, and it was on this move, on just move 37. Yes, we have analyzed insane lines and insane gameplay, and it has only been move 37. They didn't even reach time control, and it was on this move that where Surya Ganguly resigned the game. A really experienced and amazing grandmaster tried to play this position against Maxime, but Maxime was able to come out on top. Maxime had a positional advantage throughout the game. Surya had some chances, but unfortunately was not able to convert them right on time, where Maxime did give him 2 chances in the game to be able to come back into it, and with the black pieces he was not able to find those ideas. But now unfortunately in the next game, the game ended in a draw, and with that Maxime went to round 3, and unfortunately Surya Ganguly was eliminated, but he played an absolute spectacular game, so really kudos to him. I'm hoping that next year he's gonna come really guns blazing and play spectacular chess like he does every single time. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll be coming back with some of these amazing games, so stay tuned to the channel, stay updated, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Thank you very much for watching.